Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the MGS Podcast, your one-stop shop for movies, games, and sports. My name is Jake, here with a proud member of Hooday Nation, Paul.
Hooday!
How you doing, Paul?
Good, man. I'm excited, dude. It's football season. College football starts this weekend.
He's like, oh, he's getting all ready. You might not be able to see it, so I'll zoom in on his face in the editing, but he's all giddy.
Football starts this weekend, so we start off with college football. And the next week, man, we got the NFL, baby.
We got the regular season. We don't really watch preseason NFL. We follow it, but I don't sit there in front of the TV and watch the games because I already know for the Packers anyway, if you're not a starter, you're a pile of shit. So I really don't care to see you progressing because you're not.
Baker Mayfield won a starting job. So.
That is true, and I had a feeling that was going to happen, especially with the season that Sam Darnold? Yeah, had last year, because he started off kind of hot, and then he's like, no.
Started off hot for the first quarter of the first game he played, and then it went downhill.
So
anyways.
So in today's podcast for movies, we're going to be talking about Me Time, which is a movie starring Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg, a duo that I'm surprised we haven't seen up until now.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragons. A little bit about a review of Day Shift. Paul hasn't been able to see it, so it's going to be a spoiler-free review because there is a pretty good plot twist, so make sure you watch it. For gaming, we're going to be talking about Dead Island 2.
Yeah.
That was finally announced after years.
Gameplay that they launched with it, so saw a little bit of that.
Then Battlefield 2042 is starting its Season 2, I think, tomorrow? Or Monday, something like that. Monday.
All right, so it's coming out soon. We'll have to hop back on that now that you're kind of getting off your Apex things. So.
Yeah.
And a little bit of some PGA Tour 2K23.
Yeah,
So
with someone specific making the cover again.
Yeah.
After the games used to be named after him, but then he got chased down the street with a umbrella or whatever. So that kind of changed things for him.
A comeback.
But yeah, and then speaking of that, we've got quite a bit going on in sports, so stay tuned for that.
A ton of sports will be all over the place, but excited to talk about that, so stick around.
Yeah, and we'll be back in a minute for movies.
Just 1 minute. Don't you go nowhere, chicken fucker.
Jesus Christ. So to jump into our movie segment, we're going to be talking about a movie called Me Time. I was actually able to sit down and watch this today. Paul has not been able to see it. Yesterday.
Okay.
No. It came out today.
Oh, was it?
It came out today.
So you just relaxing, got some time to watch it?
Yeah, got some time to watch it. And so it's a Netflix original. It stars Kevin Hart and Mark Wahlberg, where, they were childhood best friends growing up, and they kind of went their separate ways because Kevin Hart became a family man and Mark Wahlberg was, he's a party animal. He's one of those guys who just never grows up. And, spoiler free, I'm not gonna
spoil. Be me for a while.
Yeah, not gonna spoil anything for the movie, but it was fucking hilarious.
Was it? I
mean, it really was.
You mentioned it right in the beginning. Like, I thought it was interesting that we've never seen them two do a movie together, but we've seen Kevin Hart do a bunch of movies with Will Ferrell, and then we've seen Mark Wahlberg do a bunch of movies with Will Ferrell. So it's funny that now we're seeing them, kind of do a movie together because comedy-wise, they're great. And Mark Wahlberg, even though he does a lot of serious movies, a lot of Boston cop movies, but he's very funny.
Boston Robbers movies too.
Yeah. But he's really funny.
Yeah.
So he does a good job of complimenting the comedians.
He does. And I mean, like, some of my favorite comedies have Mark Wahlberg in it. Like, The Other Guys, one of my top favorite comedies. I absolutely love that movie.
Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell.
Mark Wahlberg, Will Ferrell. Yeah.
And then what's the Where's this?
Was it his stepdaddy?
Will Ferrell's the stepdad,
Yeah.
and he's the actual dad.
Yeah, and he's the dad. And then they did a sequel to that
Daddy's
one as well.
Home?
Daddy's Home.
Is
Yeah,
that what it
Daddy's
is?
Home and Daddy's Home too. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that shit was.
Well, and then Ted with the teddy bear that comes to life.
Oh, yeah.
He's in Ted and Ted too.
That's true.
So Mark
Lot of
Wahlberg, yeah, he does a lot of really funny movies.
For a time, and I'm pretty sure this is accurate, but before Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Mark Wahlberg was the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, he was getting all these movies, Transformers,
Mm-hmm.
doing Ted, the other guys, all those comedy movies as well. And then The Rock, shot out of nowhere, and then he was in like every movie possible, still out there doing movies. Him and Kevin Hart just did that Superdog movie.
Super Pets.
Super Pets, yeah.
Great movie, by the way.
So, yeah, if you haven't seen that one, go out and check it with your kids. But, so he's done a lot. It's good to see him and Kevin Hart again on the screen.
Yeah, and I mean, when you think of a Kevin Hart movie, this is that. I mean, him and The Rock, they're the same role in every single movie that they play in. The Rock mixed it up in that one comedy that he did with Kevin Hart where, he's like a spy or something.
Yeah.
And, he wears like the unicorn t-shirt and the fanny pack. His character in there was a little bit different, but for the most part, every character The Rock plays in.
He was a fat kid in high school.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
But,
and Kevin was like the jock, and he was always nice to him. Yeah.
But, Kevin Hart in this movie is Kevin Hart. You got a lot of loud screaming, high-pitched voices, exaggerated shit, but it works so well for Kevin Hart. It really does. And I'm one of those people, I won't get bored of watching Kevin Hart movies. I think the man is hilarious.
One of the girls that I work with, she was mentioning, she's like, he plays the same role in every movie, but I just don't get tired of it.
Yeah.
She's like, he just is still funny for some reason. Like, you know what to expect from him, and you know what you're going to get, but he still just makes you laugh all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're 100% right. Like,
Well,
I mean...
one thing that, and it's in the trailer, so I can point this out, but one thing I didn't really expect, even though I had seen the trailer, is at one point, like, this little baby mountain lion comes rubbing on his leg while he's trying to take a shit.
In a toilet. Not in a toilet, but in a bucket.
Yeah, it's called a luggable loo.
A luggable loo.
A luggable loo. Yeah, those are real. Yeah, that's actually called a luggable loo. But, yeah, and, this little baby mountain lion's rubbing on his leg, and he's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, you got sharp claws, don't you? You little cute thing. And then all of a sudden, Mama Mountain Lion comes, and then there comes the exaggerated Kevin Hart screams as he's, running for his life from this mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, I didn't remember that part from the trailer. So when it happened, it caught me off guard, and it fucking had me dying. And I'm so happy that the trailer cuts out such a large portion of that. So in the movie, it's even funnier.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That had me laughing when I saw the trailer. And there's just like so many different good parts in it that you're just like, all right, this is going to be, a good movie. This will be something you can sit down, watch with a family, enjoy it. Is there a lot of swearing and all that in it? What was it rated, like PG-13 or?
I'm pretty sure it was rated R.
Oh, wasn't?
I'd have to double check that. I guess
you do see Mark Wahlberg's ass.
Yeah, you do. You do see full Mark Wahlberg butt cheeks for an extended duration too. It's not just like a whoop whoop. It's like it's
they just try to make it uncomfortable as they stare at his ass.
And it's like me watching it. I'm like, don't look at his ass. Don't look. Fuck.
God damn you, Mark Wahlberg's ass.
Like, why is it so firm looking? Son of a bitch.
God, he's like 50, but that ass is like 20.
It's 25 at the max. But yeah, it's. So I'm pretty sure it's rated R because there is a lot of vulgar shit that happens in it, and of course Mark Wahlberg and Kevin Hart both swear up a storm. I'm sitting here trying to remember specific like lines, and I'm pretty sure they say the word fuck more than I do.
There's no way.
I'm pretty fucking sure.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But Paul hasn't seen it yet, so like I said, I don't want to get into spoilers because it was a hilarious movie. It's on Netflix. It's streaming now. Go check it out. Let us know what we think, or what you think. And then that being said, we're actually going to move into something that I haven't seen. This doesn't happen often. I haven't seen, but Paul has.
Which I'm surprised because 22 million people saw it.
Yeah, the highest opening streaming show of all time for HBO.
Opening premiere for HBO. So all other shows before HBO, it's breaking all those records. And then to even think just in 2022 this year, which I will get into a little bit. I know we may not talk about. I think there's something that may compete with it from Amazon Prime here coming out in the next few months. But yeah, Stranger Things. I mean, one of the most anticipated shows on Netflix, blew up, had fantastic ratings on the premieres, and had crazy numbers in it.
Yeah.
Outbeat them as well. So
Wow. That's impressive. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, we're talking about House of the Dragons.
yeah. Oh, we didn't even say the name
No,
yet, did we?
no.
But boom, there it is. House of the Dragons. There's not really too much I could say that's like spoiler in it. I mean, there wasn't anything really crazy, but they did set the table kind of to get things kind of going. That I think it's not gonna linger through a first season. Like I think we're gonna see some action here within the next couple episodes.
So there wasn't anything major, like a kid being pushed out of a tower.
No,
right at the beginning of the episode.
No, that's next week.
After witnessing some weird shit. Because Game of Thrones opened with a bang.
Well, yeah, and I mean, keep in mind too. So you go back to Joffrey and that, that whole line, and the big thing that people had an issue with was, the incest that happened with that whole family with, Jaime Lannister and his sister, and then obviously Joffrey being their child. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, fuck off.
But the Targaryens did it for years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they kept their bloodline so pure. So I know that we're going to see something like that being talked about coming down the road. It was weird because I almost thought, like in the episode, a little bit of a spoiler here, when the king was talking to his daughter and he's like telling her she's gonna be queen, and he's like, I need to talk to you about some serious stuff. I thought he was gonna start talking about how deep that bloodline goes, and like I was like, wow, he's moving in quick right now.
I know you're my daughter, but you looking good today, little one. That blonde hair just glistening. No purple eyes. Do they have purple eyes?
No,
or are they still not doing the purple eyes?
And I think there was a lot of people that were kind of a little, not frustrated, but I guess there was a lot of mentions about that, about how they didn't have the eye color that they had always talked about. And this day and age, contacts is so easy to make that happen.
Well, even just the computer generation. Obviously, the contacts would be cheaper and easier. But yeah, you would think they'd do the purple eyes.
Make it super easy. But no, it was really good. You're already seeing some hostility between some characters, the king and his brother. The Hand, I mean, you can already see the manipulators at the table, people that are going to try to get what they want out of the king and, kind of work that around. And you kind of see the king is a little bit weak. He's not a fighter. He's trying to bring a little bit more peace than what was going on beforehand. But it was good. Like I said, there's a lot of setup. I mean, we saw a good amount of dragons already in the first episode.
Okay.
And I remember the big issue with Game of Thrones before was that it was so expensive to do the CGI for it. So we were a little limited to what we got, in Game of Thrones before with the dragons. But to see 3 different dragons. I think we saw 3 different dragons in the first episode.
Full grown?
One was a little bit smaller, not full grown yet. But yeah. And I think we got our villain too, which is kind of known right off the bat whenever you kind of watch that first episode. So
nice. Yeah, I plan on watching it this weekend before the second episode comes out.
It's a good watch. It got me excited. And I think the thing that, is cool too is what I think is going to bring in so many people is everybody knew about all the hype with Game of Thrones, right? But a lot of people were like, well, I heard the ending was terrible, so why would I go and watch?
Yeah, why would I watch it?
But I think this is a great fresh start for people that you don't have to watch GOT.
Yeah, because this takes place hundreds of years before the
173 years before Daenerys was born.
Okay.
So, so we're way in advance here. And so, you don't have to watch it. If anything, if you watch that and then go watch GOT after, you've just gotten more information to understand what they talked about a lot in Game of Thrones. Yeah. So yeah, it was great, man. I enjoyed it. I was glad to see it back. It was one thing that my wife and I always watched religiously on Sundays.
Yeah, we used to come over and watch it.
Yeah, you guys did, when I was in the townhome.
And Walking Dead, yeah.
Yep. So it's great to kind of, get that back, that Sunday night feel of HBO and, just waiting for it to pop on at 10 o'clock.
Woo! All right,
popcorn, and just some quality time.
You ever get like that butter powder for your popcorn?
No, they have a powder?
They have a powder.
Oh, is it good?
It's delicious.
I'm assuming it's good.
It's delicious.
Yeah, I've been on those the caramel one lately.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so
yeah,
good.
I gotta have just normal butter popcorn.
Yeah, I do it every now and
people
then,
like that kettle corn shit, like with like the sugar.
Yeah.
In it. Can't do it. I just like butter. Like,
So good.
I want to eat this and
corn's
like
so
look in the mirror and see that I just gained 5 pounds from eating 6 bags of butter. Essentially, that's what I want. But moving on to our next movie, which Paul also hasn't seen, so I'm going to do another spoiler-free review because there is a massive plot twist in this next movie, so I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so please go check it out. But Day Shift. It was the movie we talked about last week, starring Jamie Foxx, Snoop Dogg.
I'm so mad I didn't see this one.
I'm mad that you didn't see it.
I waited for my wife. I was trying to be a good husband. And it's like it was an episode. It was a full movie, so it's not like I could just go watch it and then, rewind.
Absolutely, you
but
could.
I didn't know how good. What if it was a shitty movie and then I just watched it and I'm about to watch it again? I'm like, God dang it! So
I thought it was really good. I'm very easy to please. I will say that. You guys might even see that by now. I'm very easy
Thor?
to please.
Just kidding. I'm just saying you raved about it.
I thought it was good, Jesus. But again, easy to please. But I thought it was hilarious. And this isn't really a spoiler, but we talked about that awkward diversity between Dave Franco and Jamie Foxx's character, and it's 100% there, and it's super awkward and uncomfortable and hilarious, and a lot of the comedy, in my opinion, was those two bouncing off of each other.
Really?
Yeah, and just how well they played their individual parts by themselves and together. It was perfect.
I always liked Dave Franco. I thought he was always funny in all the movies I've seen him in, and I mean, like I said when we talked about it last week, him and Jamie Foxx I thought was going to be a pretty interesting little combo.
Yeah.
And,
I would say with Dave Franco, some of his funniest film moments to date are in this movie.
Really?
Yeah. There's some funny shit.
I'll have to check
And again,
I
don't want to spoil anything, and there's so many scenes I want to talk about right now. There's so many.
By the way, I told him he could do a spoiler, review on this, but he said that there's a twist at the end. Yeah. He doesn't want to spoil, but
there's a twist that when it happened, I'm like, oh, and like I got kind of serious for a second, like, please no, and then you're like, what the fuck? Oh, shit!
Like, one of those moments.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and that's why
is there going to be a second one?
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, so they left it like the twist available for that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the ending of it was one of those endings where, based on the success of the movie, they definitely could greenlight a second one. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of people would still be satisfied with the ending that they got.
Sure.
So they kind of gave us a little bit of both, but they definitely did leave room for a sequel. And I hope they do a sequel because I thought it was fucking hilarious. And that one again was also on Netflix. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out.
Yeah, Netflix has been dropping some really good movies lately. I mean, we talked about it last week, but The Gray Man. You have Day Shift, and then the one.
And then Me Time.
Me Time with Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
So it's great to see because I know Netflix was hurting a little bit with they lost some subscribers, and I know their view count went down once they started raising some prices, and then adding this whole thing where you have to like pay $2.99 extra for a different address or something they're testing. In different markets
and then
now.
they're also adding a one of their services will have ads now, so it'll be a cheaper option, but kind of like the cheap option for Hulu, you'll have to sit through ads, which, I mean, I guess I don't really mind that,
As long as it's not a full commercial break. I mean, most of them are like a minute 30.
Longest. Which isn't bad. I mean,
maybe
think of when we were kids and we'd have to sit through a literal 4 or 5 minute commercial break.
Yeah.
And now those type of shows are so weird to watch because, like, when you stream them, the commercial break is like what they do is still there. So it's like, yeah,
when it comes back from break, you still get some of that shit on TNT and TBS and sometimes. Like, you just cut in the middle of an action scene. Like, golly, Optimus Prime just stabbed Megatron right through the heart. You can't break right there.
Hey, spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry.
Jesus. By the way, that's for in every Transformers movie. If you haven't seen any of them, we just spoiled all of them for
true.
you. But
he comes back from the deepest parts of the water.
Yeah.
Kudos to Netflix for launching some good stuff. I did real quick just want to mention the Amazon Prime show.
Yeah.
Like I said, they get a huge following, and if you're not really into it, some people would very much compare it to Star Wars following, but Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Rings of Power. Or
Yeah,
Ring of Power.
Ring of Power will be launching later this year. I think it's for some reason I think it's this month in September. But we just got a new trailer. It looks fantastic. But I think it's going to have a great shot of of really competing with the premiere and the hype. I mean, you remember you got Lord of the Rings. You had those 3 movies, and then they did the Hobbit movies.
Hobbits. Well, not to mention the cult following the book series had, just like Harry Potter,
Yeah, exactly. And the books, from what anyone will tell you, even just like Game of Thrones, I mean, the books are always better. They give you so much more detail, more character build, through the books.
I
read it at 3rd grade level, so I haven't read any of them. But
in 7th grade, we had to do book reports. Everyone knows what the hell a book report is. So our teacher has a box full of books, and you have to pick a book. I grabbed The Hobbit out, right? Now, 7th grade me, I thought The Hobbit was Lord of the Rings. I didn't fucking know it was its own prequel story to Lord of the Rings. So my book report was about the Lord of the Rings movies because I didn't want to read the fucking book. And I failed that shit.
Did you even read this book?
This punk-ass fucking kid who had read the book starts raising his fucking hand. And, no, that was from the Fellowship of the Ring. That was the movie Fellowship of the Ring. That wasn't even in The Hobbit. It's like, fuck you, Ross. You fucking...
Fuck you, Ross. Ratting my boy out like that, bro.
I fucking remember. His name was Ross, too. That wasn't a made-up name.
so it's crazy because, like I said, there's a huge following. I know people who, rave about it. And then obviously, one of our, favorite movies, Clerks, they'll talk about
the best trilogy.
Yeah, the best trilogy, Star Wars or Lord of the Rings.
Which everyone knows the answer to that.
Yeah, it's
Star Wars.
100% Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it'll have a great shot, and I would love to see what they do. I hope Amazon does a fantastic job with it. It's always good to get another TV show out there, and it'll be a good one.
I think that's a good part to jump into our gaming segment. On this last note, on the topic of Amazon, there is a rumor going around right now that Amazon is trying to acquire Electronic Arts. So EA might end up falling under the Amazon umbrella. So we'll see how that goes. But EA has been looking for a buyer for a while.
Games, so.
They don't. They're just like
so they need Amazon.
They're like, it's done. Here's the product.
Here's our finished product. It's not even completed. You got what you paid for.
I paid $100 fucking for this shit.
So so we'll get ready to move into our gaming segment, and we'll talk about some of that stuff coming up. We got Dead Island 2.
Battlefield 2042,
and we'll talk about a little bit of the PGA 2K23.
Yeah.
But stick around. We'll see you in a few.
See you in a few.
You
got this.
What's over there?
No, I ain't gonna fall for that shit. Because as soon as welcome to the MGS podcast.
yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah, I knew that.
Hey, Busk. He's not over there. God, I should have did it right there. Oh shit! I got a cramp in my ankle. Hey guys, welcome back to the MGS podcast. We're moving in here to our game segment, and we're going to be talking about some cool stuff today. Some violent shit.
Some pretty violent shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, talking about heads ripped off, axes to the face, bullets to the face.
At some point, there's going to be a lightsaber, I promise you.
Yeah? You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Dead Island 2 just gave us some great trailer and some great gameplay footage. We're going to talk a little bit about the 2K or PGA Tour 2K23.
That is a lot of tis in there.
2K today, Junior.
Today, Junior.
So Tiger Woods, getting back on the front cover of that game. Then we're going to talk about some Battlefield 2042 Season 2 pass. So a little bit of upgrades, things happening there. Going to that, we're definitely going to be hopping back in that. I know I said that last season, but I was so mad at Battlefield that I'm gonna go back in and give it a little bit of chance. So a little bit of
we got it.
swing there.
I would like to point out when you said the Today Junior on the topic of PGA Tour, can we please get a fucking Billy Madison DLC character?
Yes.
Or Happy Gilmore DLC character?
Well, did you see that
like,
they
how
did?
fucking cool would that be?
Tiger Woods did an interview with Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, I did see that, yeah. He got arrested, and he's like, I was in Happy Gilmore. And they're like, yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, old crazy guy.
Shoot it. That would have been awesome if they did that to him. Yeah, well, you're still going to jail. Shoot it.
Yeah, so Dead Island 2. Holy shit, I have
Dude.
been waiting for Dead Island 2 for so damn long.
And I think you nailed it right on the head here. You know, I was kind of saying I didn't get to play a whole lot of the first one, but you're like, look, you play Dying Light. You love Dying Light. This is going to be very similar gameplay style. And dude, who doesn't fucking love smashing zombies' face in?
I love it.
Yeah.
And in creative ways.
Right.
Like, so Dead Island, in my opinion, kind of was the pinnacle for the zombie genre. And then, you know, Dying Light came out and competed pretty damn well with Dead Island. The thing I like about Dead Island is it doesn't take place as far into this, you know, zombie apocalypse. You know, the first one takes place at the beginning of it, basically at you know, point zero with patient zero. And so, like, the world isn't crumbling yet. Like, you're in an exotic location that's super bright and vibrant. And it looks like with the second one, although it's not going to take place on an island, I believe it's going to be in California. Yeah. It still has those bright, vibrant colors. And as much as I love Dying Light, that's one thing I always hated about it was the colors. They made them a little bit better in Dying Light 2. You know, you've got all these, like, gardens and trees growing on top of the buildings now, so there's a lot more green and colors to it. But it's not the same as beautiful palm trees and beaches, you know?
Right.
And, you know, all the buildings are still bright
Zombies
and
in
colorful.
bikinis.
Absolutely.
You see the legs on that?
You
babe?
banging heads and banging titties. But it's one thing I love when we just watched the trailer again, just because we like to kind of get a fresh look at everything that we're about to talk about.
Something too.
Yeah, and
like that head rip off through the window in the very beginning.
that was so good. That was so good. And it's like he didn't even rip off the head. He like ripped off the top of the head, like
through the mouth.
like the bottom
Tongue
jaw
was just like
was
this.
still there. Yeah. He saw them zombies in bikinis too. I guess. I don't know. I'm just gonna say, Slick Rick, if you're watching, I'm really sorry for what your child just did. But yeah, and the combat system looks genuinely improved. Like some of the punching combos that we saw in there, it's not like Dying Light where it's just like ha, ha. Like there were like Mike Tyson combos that we just saw in that trailer.
Thrown.
Yeah, you know, jab, 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 haymaker, uppercut.
I just love when they take the axe to somebody's head and then like you know they like rip it out and it's just
yeah. Well, and then there was a part where he like puts a mace through someone. Like I didn't even know you could get a mace through someone's chin. It wasn't even like a
now
spike.
these bodies are like decomposed,
Yeah,
so it's easier to
true.
get through there. A
That's
lot
true.
softer tissue.
You sound like the people
like
who made
ripping through
Walking
meatloaf,
Dead,
bro.
who make the excuse for like, how is it so easy for a 7-year-old to stab a zombie through the skull with a screwdriver? Because it's just like, They're like, oh, well, the zombies have been decaying. It's like, no, that skull is still hard as fuck. Don't give me that shit. Your bones don't just decay that quick, okay? The flesh, maybe, yeah. Muscle, yeah, of course. But the bone, no, that shit's still there.
Yeah. But who knows? You know, I mean, maybe the disease or whatever they were infected with, maybe it like decayed their bones to a softer material.
It could
but
be.
then how could they walk? You know, then
They'd just be
lards.
squishy. Yeah.
Yeah, walking around. Well,
Either
anyways.
way, I've been waiting for Dead Island 2 for a long time. I used to play the first one religiously. It had a great story mode, a pretty good multiplayer mode. Very similar to the multiplayer in Dying Light, where you know you're coming along with me to do the story and side quests, whatever it may be. But guns, there's still guns in it.
I think that's a nice thing too. You know, it's not just going out there and wrecking zombies. You know, because that gets old pretty quick. You know, when you put a good storyline to it, it keeps you engaged, keeps you playing the game all the way through. So yeah, it's super important to have that. And if they had a good one in the first one, probably going to come out and be better in the second.
Well,
so.
and one thing I hope they get right that Dying Light 2 did not get right is the amount of damage the zombies can take. Because, like, in Dying Light 2, once you unlock the drop kick, you just drop kick every zombie and they're dead. Drop kick them off a roof, whatever it may be, they're dead. And then the game loses its intensity. There's no fear factor anymore because as soon as any zombie comes, you have a fire electric katana that just one slices everything. There's no fear anymore.
Yeah, but it was pretty badass.
I know.
When you first got it, you're like,
oh,
yes,
absolutely.
Dopest dope I've ever smoked.
And then after I used it for a while, I'm like, okay, this is stupid. Let me just go get a stick because that might make the game challenging. So I hope they get the combat right because if they don't get it right, then it's not going to be scary at any point. And I mean, as much as fun as it is to, just go and beat the shit out of zombies, the most fun we had in Dying Light was when we were genuinely scared.
Dude, terrified at night, dude.
I know we've talked about it before on the podcast, but those moments were some of my favorite gaming moments ever.
Absolutely.
And even when I replayed, because I played it with you first, and then I played it with Eric and T-Bone after I played it with you. And it was still just as terrifying. Yeah. You didn't have the relationship with them at the time that you have with them now, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. It looks dope.
February 3rd, I believe. February 3rd, 20 of 23s is when we'll get Dying Light 2, Dead Island 2. Don't pre-order it. Pre-ordering's stupid. You're just guaranteeing money for a product that might not work. But pre-ordering used to make sense when we had discs because there were limited quantities, but now there's not. So, I think Battlefield 2042 kind of showed me that I don't want to pre-order things anymore.
Yeah, well, EA.
Yeah.
I think,
because even when, Battlefront 2 came out, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and it was just purely pay to win. Like, you could just buy those packs and upgrade all of your heroes all the way right away.
I hate that shit, dude.
And then, that had massive backlash. And I thought they learned from that. And then, they gave us Battlefield 2042.
Speaking of Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, Battlefield 2042 is launching Season 2. Season 1 just ended. I believe it was on the 25th. Season 1 ended. Then Season 2, the Season 2 Battle Pass is going to start on the 30th, which introduces one new map, which for Breakthrough is infantry only.
Oh, so no vehicles
There
at
are
all?
no vehicles. When you play Conquest, there are vehicles, but in Breakthrough, it's infantry only. It is a smaller map than some of the other ones that we've seen so far, with a very large wrecked ship in the middle. That is where, like, the infantry focus is.
Okay.
They're introducing 3 new guns. There's a carbine, so it's like, the mix between an SMG and an AR. There's a new LMG, and there's a new fully automatic pistol.
No, but with Battlefield introducing new guns, do they take away other guns, or they're adding it to the collection?
They're adding it to the collection. Along with those 3 guns, they're also adding, at launch of Season 2, they're adding the M16A3 from Portal into the All Out Warfare, and they're also adding, I think it was the M249 SAW.
So they're finally
putting
some stuff from Portal, which we saw a little bit in Season 1.
Yeah,
they
with the maps.
Right, the maps, allowing you to play outside of Portal and regular gameplays like Breakthrough and Conquest and stuff like that. So it'll be good. They're bringing some weapons now to it. So, all right, so we're moving in the right direction here.
And I mean, they've done a lot of work. They revamped a few, they revamped Kaleidoscope, the one with the big towers.
Yeah.
They added a bunch more cover in between the objectives and stuff. Next, we're going to get, I forget the name of the map. I believe it's Renewal. It's the one where it's like desert on one side and like green and beautiful on the other side of the wall. Mm-hmm. That's their next map. At the launch of Season 2, that map will be revamped, allowing for more cover, and the objective points will be different to avoid having to run for 25 minutes to get to an objective just to get sniped. They showed what they're doing to Orbital, the original beta map with the rocket. They're adding like crushed tanks, craters in the ground.
Oh, so it's going to finally look like World War III style?
Yeah, it's going to look like what the game is supposed to be.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it only took 2 seasons.
They're adding one new specialist who his ability is a mounted shielded minigun. So, but it's a minigun that you actually have to sit there and shoot. It's not like Boris's sentry gun. Yeah. So that's the new specialist. They're adding 2 new vehicles. One is like the Polaris off-road vehicle. and then they're adding another infantry vehicle with a mounted gun.
Nice. Well, that's good. I mean, it's nice that they're doing a lot of these revamps. It seems like they've actually like kind of listened to what people were saying in the complaints.
I mean, they're still moving at what can only be defined as a snail's pace. I mean, you look at the old Battlefields, like when Battlefield 4, which was probably the Battlefield we were into the most together, you know, their first DLC gave us like 10 fucking maps and like 25 guns.
Yeah, we're getting one at a time here.
Yeah, now we're getting one map, one character.
Fritz, bro.
That being said, there have been some leaks regarding the next Battlefield. You know, it's slated to come out in 2024.
I was going to say, I think I saw 24.
Yep, 2024. It's going to have a campaign. It's going to be more grounded to reality. It's going to take place in a similar time frame is what's being said, but it's going to be a lot more realistic and a lot more Battlefield-like. That being said, too, classes are coming back.
Okay.
But not in the way you'd want. The specialists are still going to be in the game.
Why do you build me up like that?
Build me up, buttercup baby, just to let me down.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the classes are coming back, but essentially now the specialists are grouped into classes. So you've got, you know, your support, assault, recon, and I forget what the other class was. Medic, maybe?
There's recon, medic,
engineer.
assault, and engineer, yeah.
Engineer, yeah. So assault, support, recon, because assault was the medic as well. So assault, support, recon, and engineer. So they're taking the specialists and they're grouping them into those. So now you have to be that class to have the specific gadget.
Instead of, I mean, I did like that better. I hated that, like, in this game, like, it was, you could be assault, but do anything that you want.
Yeah, and then, like, when you died, you could just, okay, let me grab a med pack instead. Let me grab an ammo bag. No, I think I want a rocket launcher now. So now certain items are going to be locked to those classes.
I like that. That's original Battlefield.
Yeah, that's Battlefield. All they have to do now, and I know they're not going to, they got to get rid of these stupid fucking specialists.
I hate that shit.
Nobody wanted it. Nobody. And, you know, they compare it to Call of Duty, where... You know, Call of Duty has their operators. The difference is the operators that's just an appearance. They don't have a fucking ability.
Right. Yeah, bringing out a mini sentry gun or all the other shit they have.
I preferred it back in the day when, like, you knew what a recon character looked like. You knew what a support character, an assault character, or an engineer character looked like because they had their specific look.
It's nicer because it almost like encourages you to work as a squad in a unit, because then you have somebody who's recon, like we used to do. I would be assault, you'd do engineer, or
whatever it may be. We'd mix it up so that we had all of the tools in our squad at our disposal. And now people don't do that. And you know, this game was supposed to be the Battlefield game that encouraged the most team play, and then when it launched, there was no voice chat. You couldn't squad up with people or stay in the same squad with people. You couldn't switch squads. You know, you're stuck to whatever squad you start in. And, you know, it didn't encourage team play at all. Mm-mm. It's moving in the right direction. So like you said, it does show that they are listening, but is it too late? Yeah. Jinx. Yeah. By the way, you owe me a Mountain Dew voltage. Yeah.
I was going to say you owe me a Coke, but...
No, I got my water.
Oh, stay hydrated, friends.
Yeah.
Stay thirsty.
So,
yeah, it's, you know, like you said, you know, it's too late. I feel like they lost so much from all the backlash of this game and like the community of Battlefield. Like even after season 1, I mean, we saw a very small spike back on the servers.
Yeah.
Of people getting back into it. Maybe we'll see a little bit more spike in season 2 pass. But I think they just really kind of let everybody down.
Well, and a big part of that is their lack of communication.
Sure.
You know, some of these game developers are communicating with their player base on a daily basis, whether that's through Twitter, through in-game announcements, whatever it may be. Whereas Battlefield, they're like, all right, here's your season. We'll talk to you guys in, you know, a month and a half.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah. And then when they are going to talk to someone, they're like, before they had this last, you know, developer talk, you know, they posted a teaser like, oh, developer talk next Tuesday. It's like, no one's getting hyped for your fucking developer talk. Like, don't give us a teaser that you're about to have a developer talk. Just give us a fucking developer talk. Yeah. Like, let us know what's going on. We don't need a teaser for it.
Let us know you're going to take our thoughts seriously.
Yeah. Like, all I know, and I can say this being a Battlefield guy at heart, if this next game comes in 2024 and still has specialists, I will not play it.
It's gonna be really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially there's so much out there now, like different games, genres of games that you have to be on top of it.
Well, and if the rumors of Modern Warfare 2 are correct, where they're going to have a huge focus on Ground War now, where they didn't really... Ground War was just another mode in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. And it wasn't well optimized. There was no balance in it. Like, it didn't feel like Battlefield, which is definitely what they were trying to go with, the objective capturing the vehicles, large scale, whatever. But apparently they put a huge focus on that for this next game. And I think they did it on purpose after Battlefield kind of flopped. They're like, we're going to finally put the fucking dagger to you. So if Call of Duty comes out with that big game mode and it works, it might be too late at that point for Battlefield to make a comeback.
Yeah, especially if it's good. Like, they come out and, they hit the ground running with it.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's not like, oh, well, they need massive upgrades to make this work. Like next game it'll be good. Then Battlefield's going to have a shot. But, if they come out and, like you said, this is, fantastic and it gets everybody engaged. And the thing is a lot of people who play Battlefield still enjoy Modern Warfare,
like
Call
us.
of Duty. Yeah, so if they come out with something that's, like, good that Battlefield hasn't been doing, that's going to be hard for people to go back and say, oh, they were good at one time, but...
I just feel like 2042, and I know most of this was supposed to be about Season 2, we talked about that, but I feel like 2042 just took so many leaps backwards.
Sure.
In terms of the animations within the game, the water textures, even the animation when you're running through the water in Battlefield 5, he puts his gun up in the air, you see him high stepping through the water. Now you don't even see ripples from the water, you're just kind of still at a full sprint going through it.
Yeah, there's a lot of disappointing things with that game, and even just coming down, like you said, to the there's no, like, you're in a World War III, post World War III, right? Like,
you're in like a World War III type event caused by global warming,
right?
Yeah.
And there's just nothing that shows for it on the map. So, and then now we're getting into the second season where you're seeing some of that stuff added in. But again, it's just like some of that stuff right off the bat.
Yeah, should have been there from the
have to wait
start.
for a season 2 pass for that. Like your game's based off that. Like the whole theme of the game is.
And it's like that. Now they're finally starting to make the characters look a little more gritty too, because they're all clean cut. They all have like these funny lines that they're saying.
A shower. That shit is cringy, bro.
Oh my god, it's terrible.
When you're finishing the game and they're just saying these stupid.
Well, that was fun. Can't wait to do that again.
It's like, bitch, you died 27 times. That wasn't fun.
The world is being destroyed. Why are you so happy? And now I haven't seen much about this new specialist, but what's so fucking irritating, I get an email from EA and they're like, meet the new charismatic specialist, so-and-so. I'm like, why is he charismatic?
So corny.
He should be angry.
Yeah.
He should be mad. His children are fucking starving or some shit.
Yeah.
Back
He's
at
out
home.
at war.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can't wait to go out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're getting stuff right now, but hopefully it's not too late. I mean, I do plan on getting on a little bit for Season 2. Maybe we'll get on together and, I'll get my 100 kills, you'll get your one.
One thing's going to have some pretty cool graphics? PGA Tour.
They always have really good graphics.
All of them are, all those golf games. And, again, we're going to go into it, Tiger Woods being on the front cover again.
For the first time since he lost the endorsement from them.
Yeah, and I've heard now Buick wants him back.
He's earned it.
Dude. I mean, the only person that really stood by him, I think, was Nike.
Yeah.
Through that whole thing. I mean, the guy lost a ton of endorsements. I mean, you get it, made some bad decisions, everybody does in life, and, shit happens. But, I can understand why, Buick and those companies did that at the time. But it was cool to see Nike stand by him. He hung out, face of really Nike, and then now you got him back on the face of PGA Tour.
All I'm saying is he was punished worse than Deshaun Watson, and all of his sex was consensual.
It's true.
I'm just throwing that out there.
On the back of Perkins,
I miss Perkins. We used to have one down the street.
Yeah,
and
right down the road.
Yeah.
In an old abandoned hotel.
Yeah, by the hotel. But yeah, I used to love the player creation in the Tiger Woods games because there used to be so many options, and then I remember the first what was it when they started calling it Rory McIlroy.
Mm-hmm.
The first one, I created my character, and I'm like, this is fucking shit. Like there were no options. Like I looked like a fucking Aryan. like like I looked like I was on my way to a different type of event, and I was so disappointed. But they're finally getting back to form, and I'm hoping that Tiger Woods being on the cover again it's going to be a true return to form for that game, because those games are phenomenal.
Well, so the cool thing is not only is he on the face of the cover, he was actually one of the lead directors.
Really? I did not
game.
see that. Okay.
Yeah. So he had a massive amount of input on this game.
Awesome.
Which is going to be fantastic. So I'm not sure if anybody's ever done that before. I don't know if Roy ever did it when he was on the cover. They're giving his input. But, Tiger Woods was one of the main directors.
Amazing.
Of this game. So it'll be fantastic to see what they come out with and the different abilities that they put in the game. So it'll be fun. I always love playing those games, man. I get addicted to them for like 2 months.
We used to go over to
straight.
Caleb's house,
yeah,
and we'd all play together. Yeah,
we'd all play that 1v1, and it was good. Good times, man. It's a good game. I'm excited for it. Feel like they make the putting more and more difficult.
I know,
time.
and it's like slightly frustrating, but at the same time, I get it, because some of those games are so easy to putt. I could putt from the fucking fairway, and I'd somehow make it.
It's true too. Well, it's crazy. Like, so I was watching this guy the other day, and they were on one of the courses from the PGA Tour, and the flag's like 10 feet in front of him, and he just takes the ball, and he just drops it, and this ball just rolls and rolls, like on how smooth the surface of the green was.
Mm-hmm.
And it eventually ends up rolling like 15 feet off the green. So like, you wonder if the video game is difficult, but sometimes back in the day it was super easy, like you said, to putt. So it's nice to see that it gets more complicated, because I will say the one thing that I feel like on those games is you can drive the fuck out of the ball.
Well, yeah, especially like when you're tapping A and like holding the direction, it's like, I got 100% spin. But then you put too much spin on it, and it's like, no, fuck, it's going the wrong way. Oh, I'm in the rough. I'm in the rough. Yeah, you could drive the hell out of the ball. Like when you created your character, you didn't even have to like put anything into driving, because you could still eagle on a par 5 with like the lowest power.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see kind of downgraded a little bit, is like not the ability to be able to drive a par 5, and then you're just like making these outrageous scores. Like, I want it to be more difficult that way. Have to take out your wedges, decide whether or not you need a 6 iron, or if you're gonna whack it with a 4 iron and get up on the green. But, it just depends. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see. But that's not the only cool feature that they got going on. There's another unlockable GoT with a pre-order on that game.
Is it the GoT from GoT Simulator 3? Because that's another game coming out soon.
Yes, it's actually the GoT from Zohan.
Oh, the guy from Space Jam.
Yeah, Michael Jordan.
Yeah, if you don't know Michael Jordan, he was an actor and a former baseball player. I think he did something else too. Oh yeah, he played golf.
Played golf.
Oh, basketball. Basketball player.
Who do you play for? Chicago Bulls.
Yeah, the Chicago Redskins.
I mean, I only think they won 6 championships, so not a big deal.
Yeah.
He's not LeBron James.
Three-peated twice, never lost a finals.
Not LeBron James.
Yeah, definitely not LeBron James.
Yeah, so anyway, if you pre-order the game right now, PGA Tour 2K23, you can actually get Michael Jordan, and he'd be an unlockable player for you to play. So you can play as NBA legend. Which is pretty tight. So
they haven't done that in a lot of their games.
Imagine playing 1v1, Tiger Woods versus Michael Jordan.
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty easy.
Tiger Woods gonna whoop
that ass. I mean, he's gonna whoop that ass. It's just like if Tiger goes on the basketball court against a 70-year-old Michael Jordan, he's getting his ass whooped. Yeah. And kind of like what I elaborated to early. I would love to see them just introduce some like if we got Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin put into there, I'd be so stoked. And like you look at all the different athletes that are actually really good at golf. Like these should all be characters that they could put in the game.
Steph Curry just played.
Yeah, I was just gonna say Steph Curry. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
I do enjoy watching those guys do those celebrity matches and shit.
Yeah, they're fun.
So,
but it'd be cool to see more athletes outside of golf or celebrities outside of golf be added into the game, because I think them adding Michael Jordan, that's awesome.
And maybe
I think
that's
awesome.
maybe it's the first step. You know,
Yeah.
maybe like down the road they do upgrades or updates where you can add, you know, those players. Maybe they just see how it goes. But
and I mean, maybe they've done it already. It's been a while since I've played one of these PGA Tour 2K games, so maybe they've done it, but not to my knowledge.
yeah, drop a comment, and let us know if they did or not. I haven't played since the first time McIlroy was on the cover. That was
Yeah, I played the following game as well.
2017.
Yeah, it was 2017, and I played the following game, and I'm like, this is the same one. It's the same game.
Fucking Tiger Woods on the cover, baby.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'll get this one.
Yeah,
I'll get this one.
Three different versions will be available. So they have a standard, which is like $60. Then they have the deluxe edition, $99.
And then the gold edition? Or
the Tiger Woods edition. It's a special edition Tiger Woods edition, which will be $119. So you can pre-order those starting today, or actually last Thursday you can start pre-orders. But again, any of those that you pre-order can get the unlockable Michael Jordan.
Awesome.
Yeah, so again, I'm excited, man. Tiger Woods had some directing in it. One of the main directors of it. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'll be excited to play it. I'll play you 1v1 Michael Jordan.
I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, I'll let you be Tiger.
I'll be the worst golfer in the game. I'm still going to beat you.
Nah, I don't know.
Hey, remember that one time you were better than me at a game?
Hey, remember that one time I watched you swing and miss a golf ball 14 times?
That's real life. This ain't real life, dog. This ain't real life. Yeah, if we didn't play best ball, we were there all day just for me. But I did sink that shot out of the sand. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't know if I remember.
It was the hole where we had to. It was a par 3 where we had to hit it over the water. I was the only one to not go into the water.
That's the second hole on that course.
Yeah, I landed in the bunker, and then I sunk it from the bunker for a birdie. It was the only. I mean, that was my only birdie. Everything else was a quadruple bogey, but
every squirrel finds a nut, bro.
Still, it's great.
You could have been the PGA Tour if you just kept practicing right now.
Yeah, if I went to
because everybody's leaving to.
If I went to hurt my pinky that day,
everybody's leaving 100%. To LIV golf, baby.
That's true. That's true. That being said, we're going to take a small break and move on to our sports segment.
Yeah, got a lot of good stuff.
See you in a few.
Me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals, so let's do it like they do on the Discovery Channel. That fucking song was amazing. I loved that song.
Do you remember the
video?
Yeah.
The video was fucked, man. Welcome back to the MGS Podcast, your one-stop shop for movies, games, and sports. We've reached the final segment of our segment, which I think you could tell by the little archery that Paul was just doing.
We're going to talk about archery, Olympic sport.
We're in sports. So to start things off with sports, Mr. Albert Pujols has hit his 693rd home run.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you saw it the other day, the 690.
Yeah.
Dude, comes up, hits a grand slam. That park erupted, dude. I mean, St. Louis was on fire. And I mean, his whole career was in St. Louis. I was very, very glad to have him in LA with the Angels for a few years. But I didn't get young Albert Pujols over there. I got, towards the end of his career, not as great. Played a lot of first base, and then it went up to the DH role, what he's doing over there. But he's announced his retirement. He's hanging up his cleats after the season. But right now, he's playing like he's young Albert Pujols again, man. I mean, test this man. Nah, I'm just kidding.
He needs 7 more.
7 more.
7 more.
693 right now. To get to that road, on the road to 700, which a few have done. He's going to join an elite club of people who have been able to get there.
Who took a lot of steroids.
Yeah. Mark
and he
McGwire,
might be doing it without
Sammy
the
Sosa,
juice.
Barry Bonds. Yeah. Who
Barry
knows?
Bonds.
He might have lied about his age a little bit. There was a lot of questions about his birth certificate for a while. I am 12.
Yeah. What was that in Benchwarmers? I am 12.
Dude, he's clearly like 34.
He has a beard.
I am 12. No, yeah. So I would love to see it. I think it's going to be a great story. What a better way. I mean, these guys are definitely going to the playoffs too. But I think we talked about it earlier. Like, what if number 700 was like on a grand slam?
Oh my God!
And just absolutely annihilates the ball.
I'd be so happy for him.
It'd be amazing. It's a cool thing to see. I mean, the guy's been around for a while. Easy first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
For sure, with all his accomplishments. I mean, I think he has a couple Gold Gloves over at first base as well. So just a remarkable player, and super excited to see him kind of in his career and for them to be in the lead right now. And I think they're second or third in their their division. So definitely going to be in the playoffs, and see if they can make a run for him.
Speaking of baseball, though, we do have some other baseball news that has to do with something that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and it's actually from the same team.
Yeah.
Paul Goldschmidt from the St. Louis Cardinals is potentially, we're still a little far out from maybe being able to get there, but a triple crown. The last time we saw it, Miguel Cabrera, who we've talked about here on the podcast as well, he's the last one to do it, and it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. It's one of the hardest features in baseball to accomplish, but being number one in home runs, being number one in RBIs, and being number one in
batting average.
Batting average. So I think right now he's second with 33 home runs. He's in second with RBIs, but I think or maybe batting average, but his RBIs, he just left being first in the league, but he's like right there. And it's so crucial at this point to stay hot and to be on it, because the guy that's also, has the batting average could be hot right now, and you got to keep up with him, maintain it, maintain home runs, which is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But even to be in the running for it and be right there, I mean, it's also just right there, a huge accomplishment. I mean, you're playing a great ball.
Yeah, that's a feat in its own, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it would be awesome to see. I mean, again, last time we saw it was 10 years ago. So, again, it's not something that you see happen all the time. And it'll be exciting to see if somebody doesn't. Again, this is the team that's getting ready to go into the playoffs, and a lot of baseball left in them. So,
and speaking of things that we've really never seen, that we've got someone in the NFL warming up for right now, where a defensive player could potentially win MVP. And Aaron Donald, he's practicing. He's swinging helmets at people. He's doing his Myles Garrett impression.
It was against my Bengals too. My thing is like, who coordinated this practice, bro? Like, how do you have the two Super Bowl teams? Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of shit talking out there. So the Rams are definitely running their mouth in Cincinnati.
I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would 100%.
Dude, I mean, come on, we know Ramsey.
Yeah,
you know Ramsey's out there talking shit for sure. You could say anything. Jamar Chase smoked you, this, if Burrow would have had 2 more seconds.
Be like, oh, but look at my ring.
Yeah, that's exactly it, yeah. Oh, you got an AFC championship ring?
They probably all wore their rings when they first got there.
And I would have. The Bengals would have.
Fucking
So, but, like, who decides, like, the year after the last practice before regular season, let's get the 2 Super Bowl teams together. Fucking Aaron Donald's out there pulling a Myles Garrett, bro, with not just 1 helmet, 2 helmets, helicoptering that shit out there, bro. And
North Carolina, come on and raise up.
Take your helmets off, swinging around like a helicopter. Yeah, so they were wilding out, man. It ended up into the practice early, and Aaron Donald was right there in the middle of it, and one of the biggest faces out there. I haven't heard of any injuries from it yet, but my first thing was like, damn, is someone gonna be suspended from this shit?
Yeah.
That's throwing a helmet, dude. You hit somebody, crack somebody over the head with a helmet. That's an assault with a deadly weapon right there.
Myles Garrett got suspended for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's in game or in practice. If you're hitting another man with, Des Bryant got suspended for a fight during practice before, so. And that was against his own team.
If
and
we
he didn't
think
hit
about it,
anyone
though, Des Bryant was a big name, but is he a big name like Aaron Donald big?
No, he's not Aaron Donald big.
So, one of the greatest defensive players we've seen in a long time in football, and very dominant and a very big face in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to see any repercussions out of it, especially because I haven't heard anybody being hurt from it.
I think we'll see a fine.
Yeah.
But I think that's the most that we'll see from that.
For them, it's like, give me $30. let's call it, it's probably gonna be like $100,000.
Yeah, it'll be like give me 30 grand. That's my guess. 30 grand.
If I was Cincinnati, I'd be like, pay for our facility.
Yeah, the whole thing. You can afford it. We've seen your salary.
We need a better practice field.
Yeah. And, on the topic of, the AFC North over there, we had that big move of Baker Mayfield going to the Panthers.
Yep.
And it seems like our boy Baker, not necessarily seen our boy. I'm a fan of him. He's arrogant, but I am a fan of him. I know we talked about it before. I just enjoy watching him play. And it's not because I think he's good. He's just fun. He's fun to watch. And he might have secured a starting position over Sam Darnold over there in Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, and, we talked about it a little bit before. I'm a Bengals fan, so he played for the Browns, so obviously a big rival. Don't care for much for him. I always rooted for him to do bad, throw an interception, whatever.
Break your knee.
No, I don't ever wish injuries on anybody.
Get hit by a car on your way home and die.
I don't wish
so you're
injuries
not like
on
me?
anybody. No.
Oh, okay.
But, if he goes down there, like I said, I think he's got a lot of motivation to do well. He's going to be starting against his former team, first game of the season. He gets the green light. You're the guy. Go out there and prove him wrong, prove this team wrong. And the Browns are no pushover on defense.
No.
I mean, they're a good team. They don't have a quarterback, but they still have a hell of a running back duo, unless someone gets traded because he's demanding a trade because he's not getting paid.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt.
But
great wide receiver staff over there still. I mean, Landry is still there, right?
Landry's still there.
And then you
for
have
now.
not CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb's over in Dallas.
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, Amari Cooper went
So
over.
we'll see. Maybe a backup quarterback over there. We'll see. He is watching and seeing what Deshaun Watson is doing. So, who knows? Sometimes you're surprised about some of these guys. I mean, look at Fitzpatrick comes out and fucking lights people up sometimes when he came off the bench. So, 6 games is about all he had. And then after
but
that,
those
those
6 games were the best 6 games any
people are
quarterback.
MVP.
Oh my
MVP.
God! I know we've talked about Ryan Fitzpatrick before, but I absolutely
bro.
love him and his beard and his mannerisms and how smart he was too.
Yeah.
That man is he's one of those national treasures in sports. But on the topic of the Browns receivers, we got to see Odell Beckham Jr. leave Cleveland last year, end up joining the Rams, winning a Super Bowl with them.
Is he still there? Or is he a free agent?
He's a free agent.
And nobody's picked him up.
Nobody's picked him up, but he's hurt. He got hurt in the Super Bowl, and he's expected
ACL
to miss.
tear, right?
He's expected to miss at least half of the season. So yeah, he's still waiting. The rumor mill is spinning. It's your typical rumor mill where all of the top teams are potentially pursuing him. I saw something about the Bengals, something about the Rams still having interest, something about the Bucs, something about the Packers. I even saw something about the Seahawks, but they've got a bigger position that they need to fill at quarterback.
I wouldn't even. For the Bengals, I mean, Odell's a great player, but, with the squad that they have
You've
over
got
there.
Jamar Chase. You don't need...
Dude, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd is a fantastic slot receiver. Yeah. Then you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on the outside. There's just not... it would be a waste of, to me, money. Yeah. But you never know with injuries throughout the season. He can come in and fill somebody's shoes if something happens. But, where do you see him fit? I mean, Seattle would be even a good spot. I mean, put him on the other side of DK Metcalf.
Yeah. I mean,
you still have Lockett over there too, I think.
Yeah, he's not a number 1 guy anymore, but he is a threat.
Could not be a number 2.
Yeah,
he was a number 2, and
I mean, I can definitely see him as I can still see him as a slot receiver as long as he comes back healthy. As far as where I could see him play, it's so hard to tell with him because that dude is definitely bipolar. And I feel like a team that picks him up needs to have the patience to deal with him. And now I do think he grew a lot, especially, I mean, I can honestly say the Odell that I saw in LA is completely different than the Odell that I've seen in the past.
Well, that's where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
He wanted to be out in LA. That's where.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't mind him being in green and gold playing for the Packers.
I think anything extra to give Aaron Rodgers some help after Devontae Adams leaving.
We've got a press conference with Aaron Rodgers talking about these rookie wide receivers just dropping everything right now. We're going into a season.
You see Cobb call them out?
He called out Rodgers?
No,
the receivers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, he's like, you guys don't think Aaron Rodgers is being a little too tough on the receivers? He's like, no. He's like, that's the culture we build here. If you don't like it, he's like, you can pack your bags and go somewhere else. And that's true, man, because you got to be able to take criticism. You're not doing something right. You're dropping balls. We're paying you a lot of money to catch balls.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And I mean, so we're going into a season where we've got older Sammy Watkins, a older Randall Cobb, and a young Alan Lazard, which, people right now, for example, no one has any fucking idea when I just said Alan Lazard who that is. Unless you're a Packers fan or an NFC North guy, you don't know who Alan Lazard is. And Alan Lazard is arguably our number one receiver. So the fact that nobody even knows who he is, that's saying a lot. But Alan Lazard, he does have a lot of promise. People don't remember the early years of Devontae Adams when us Green Bay Packers fans were calling for him to be cut day after day, week after week. Every Sunday, this man was dropping everything. I think his first 2.5 seasons, he was so unreliable. And then it just clicked. And, we're moving into the third season for Alan Lazard, and I'm hoping we get that same click because he's a big guy, he's a fast guy, and he's made some pretty clutch plays, but we still don't have that hands guy that we need. Our biggest hands guy is Randall Cobb, who he's definitely on the back end of his career. He's more so there for, leadership and coaching.
Veteran status. And
So I wouldn't mind Odell. I mean, we'll see how the season goes, but I can't say I'd mind him coming to play.
I heard an interesting rumor he could be going back to New York, but not for the Giants.
For the Jets? Okay.
Someone, obviously there's a lot of things like you said in the rumor mill, but that was one thing that I saw that was interesting, and I was like, well, them being on like a rebuild right now, they got a lot of good stuff going on over there. Picked up a lot of key pieces. Having a veteran like that in the locker room and that presence, probably not a bad move for them.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. With Odell, and like I said, like you said, maturity wise, I felt like he changed a lot.
Yeah.
When he went to LA, but again, we're talking about one season, so how mature is he? But being a father, different lifestyle now. A lot more.
He's got that Super Bowl ring that might chill him out a little more, or it could make him even crazier. But on the topic of LA though, LA Lakers made what I thought was a pretty interesting pickup.
Being that they have Westbrook, those two don't really see eye to eye. No, but picking up Pat Beverly.
I don't think anybody sees eye to eye with Pat Beverly.
Dude,
man.
we've talked about this though, like.
He's the villain of the league. Yes,
the Matt Barnes, like the asshole, the guy that will throw the ball in Kobe's face, like try to get him to flinch, like slap the ball out of LeBron James' hands.
He hasn't jumped into the stands and punched a fan in the face.
No, he hasn't
yet,
run
though.
our test shit or Meta World Peace, whatever you want to call it.
Meta World Peace, yeah.
No, he is the villain, and teams need that, and to get over a hump, like get in the playoffs, sometimes that's what it takes, man.
Yeah. Because
he gets under people's skin. I've seen him get under Curry's skin. I've seen him get under LeBron James' skin. He does a good job of that. And, that's what it takes. And sometimes you just got to have that asshole. But like you said, the villain of the league, we've seen like Matt Barnes play that role. We've seen Ron Artest play that role. There's always one. Dennis Rodman was one for a long time.
And it doesn't take away the fact that he's a great defensive player.
Yeah.
He really is. And I think that asshole side, because when you look at some of the greatest defenders in the history of the league, they've all been assholes. I'm not saying that Pat Bev is one of the best defenders in the history of the league. Don't get me wrong.
Easy there.
Yeah. But I feel like when you get in the head of your opponent in the way that he does, that just helps you defensively.
Yep.
Because it's throwing them off offensively.
Like I said, he gets in people's heads, and he's there to make people frustrated. Draymond Green's another good one that does that shit all the time. So, you're right. Some of the greatest defensive minds in basketball have always been that way, and we'll see how it works out. I'm curious how it's going to work out with Russell Westbrook. Bringing him in, and if that's going to force a trade there. But if not, you just got another veteran guy there that can get the job done. So. And I know they've mentioned already that Westbrook has been more accepting to playing a role off the bench and maybe not playing a full game. But, with someone that has the stats that he has, I can't imagine that sits well.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. I mean,
That's an ego drop for sure.
100%, 100%. And you know, I feel like Westbrook is his career has kind of been overshadowed by what's happened in LA, because people forget how dominant that man was.
Dude, it's LA.
Yeah.
Biggest, you're gonna get all the publicity in the world in LA, and not even just in LA. You're with LeBron James, who already gets all the attention on TV. So the spotlight is on, and it's heavy. But I mean, he's always had a surrounding cast. You know, I mean, he played in Oklahoma City. He had played with James Harden, and he played with
Kevin
Durant. And that time, fantastic basketball team. I mean, that was, you know, their years when the Mavs won the championship, and you know they put the Mavs all the way to Game 7.
Yep.
And had a fantastic run, and then that squad's ended up breaking up. James Harden goes to Houston, does his thing, but you know, ever since he played with the Wizards, he's not really had that supporting cast, and he goes to LA, and he was doing all these things by himself in Oklahoma at the time too. So it's just, he has a different style of play, and if you don't have the same pieces around him, he likes to be that main guy, and it's a different game where he's at over there with AD, LeBron, and now Pat Bev, and
then on the topic of main guy, Kevin Durant staying with the Nets,
as we know right now.
Yeah,
you know, there's.
Now I wonder if that's because that's what he chose, or it was because other teams didn't show as much interest as he thought they would.
I mean, I think whenever you heard all the rumors going around with it, it was ridiculous wants from the Nets. Like, you know, like we want 2 of your top guys and, you know, 2 first-round picks, you know, the next year and the following year, or, you know, first and second round pick. Like, it just didn't make sense for a lot of teams who have been working on rebuilding, and then they get these key players, and we're not just going to trade away our young talent for a guy who's coming into the end of his career. I mean, how many more years do you think he has after tearing his Achilles, having an ACL tear? You know, and it's a lot on your body. So
I feel like we still got like maybe 4 years.
I would say good 4 to 5 years. Yeah, but are you willing to trade 2 superstars who can give you the next, you know,
and
5
2
to 10 years?
first-round picks who knows who your first-round picks are going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, that could be the next Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Kevin Durant. Like, you don't know. You don't know.
And I mean, I think, you know, doing the podcast, it makes me follow a little bit more with like the college basketball and stuff. But, you know, now that we're doing this more, being more in tune with all the sports, it'll be interesting now to like watch the NCAA tournaments and, you know, be more engaged on, you know, who's coming up and going on to the next season. But yeah, you're right. I mean, you just don't know what you're giving up at that point but if you give up all these pieces for one guy, what do you have as a supporting cast for a guy that's older, you know? And
it's like you're at that point, you're kind of just you're sacrificing a lot to win now, and I get the desire to win now. I fully understand that. If you win championships, you're making more money for your organization.
But is Kevin Durant going to go there and win a championship by himself?
No,
because he didn't win it with a stud squad in OKC. He went to a 63-9 Warriors team and won with them 2 times. When first year Nets was injured most of the season, but you know, I guess COVID, Kyrie, and all that, you can argue with that. But you know, so that's a big gamble, I think, for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
You know, but that doesn't take anything away. He's still a fantastic basketball player,
Agreed.
one of the best, you know, shooters that we'll see for a long time. So, but yeah, I'm not giving up. I wouldn't want Orlando to give up two studs for him. So.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to come to Orlando anyway. I wouldn't want to go to Orlando.
I don't know why I feel like people don't feel like this is like a destination area. You know,
it definitely is a destination area. But
I mean, yeah, but I feel like no big names are attracted to come here when it comes to NBA. Either that, or our front office doesn't ever go for any big names.
I think it's more so that
free agents.
Yeah, because big names cost money, and everyone knows Orlando does not want to spend money.
Yeah.
They're like, oh wait, you're good now? Get the fuck out.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to pay our players. Just once they do, just leave. So I think they're just still heartbroken. The whole Dwight Howard thing, you know, like
yeah,
Shaquille O'Neal, 2 great players, just leave us, and
yeah, it's okay.
It's gonna be okay.
But you know, on that note, I think we're gonna wrap up our podcast, and we're gonna give Paul a moment here. You're gonna be all right. But, thank you so
Football
much
season,
for tuning in.
College football starts this weekend. Tune in. Next weekend we got NFL. Get your fantasy drafts done. And, tune in next week. We'll talk about my fantasy draft that I'm doing on Sunday. And then we got football season, baby. Thursday night. Let's go.
Like, subscribe, comment,
And
follow.
share the shit out of it.
Share it. Check out our Instagram. Let us know what you want us to play. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We want to hear from you. Have a good one.
Love you guys.
Later.
Later.